Occasionally we need to approximate the value of a root or radical if we don't have a calculator around, or we just need to do something really quick. Like if I walked up to most people on the street and said, what's the square root of 19? Most people would say, I have no idea. Well, we can actually get pretty close by this really quick approximation. Now, since this is a square root, we're thinking about perfect squares. So you do need to know a little bit about your perfect squares. Think about what is the perfect square right below 19. Well, perfect square below 19 would be 16, and the perfect square above it would be 25. So we know that that statement's true, which means this has to also be true. Now the reason we pick perfect squares is because we know these two values. So I know the square root of 19 now falls between 4 and 5. So we already have an approximation somewhere between the two. Now a lot of times when we're looking for approximation, you can always go with a super quick, easy approximation and say, well, how about 4.5, right in the middle? And for most of our applications, that's probably going to be good enough. We can actually get a little bit closer if we think about where the 16 is compared to these two. Here 16 is what, 3 away from 19, and 19 is what, 6 away from 25. So just kind of look. So we know since the 16 is closer to the 19 is closer to the 16, that the square root of 19 is going to be closer to 4. So I don't know, a good guess then might be like 4.2, 4.3, something like that. It's probably closer to 4.3. So as you see, you can get even closer just by guessing. Now the good news is this works for any roots and radicals. The problem is we are not as good at other roots as we might be at like square root. So let's say if I say, what is the cubed root of, I don't know, 40? All right, to do this, since this is the cubed root, we need perfect cubes. So if you're not sure about those, let's see, 1 cubed would be 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, was 1, 2, 3, 4 cubed is 64. All right, so you see that we know that 40 falls between 27 and 64, which again, this means that this has to be true. Cubed root of 40 and the cubed root of 64. So now, just off the top of our head, we know that the cubed root of 40 falls somewhere between 3 and 4. So again, a fairly good guess would be 3.5. Well, just like before, we might be able to narrow down on it a little bit. Let's see where it actually fits here. Between 27 and 40 is what, 13, and 40 and 64 is 24. So again, we're going to see it's going to be more towards this side. And let's say about 3.3 or 3.4. Probably 3.3 would be a better guess, actually. I'm going to change it because I think it's going to be 3.3. All right, so if you're not sure about these, grab your calculators and actually see how close our guesses are. So it's a very quick, easy way to approximate a radical. And a lot of times you don't actually have to show all this work to do it. Let's say, okay, 19, let's see, it'd be 16 and 25, so I know it falls between 4 and 5. 4.5 might be a good guess, and you can run with that. So approximating radicals is a nice, easy skill that you might want to practice because it shows up all the time.